Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AAOL match of the day. We are going to start off with Nepal. I will introduce myself and my colleagues. My name is Blackburn. I am here casting with Pironious and Zero Aim. Please introduce yourself, Pironious.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? I'm Pironious, a long-time AOL caster, as I'm sure you all know by now. And I'm going to be here doing some color commentary for you as we head into Nepal for this great match between OmegaLUL, or OmegaLUL, as a lot of people may prefer to pronounce it, and Error 404. And it looks like here on Nepal we will be starting here on the inside area in Sanctum. So that's going to make some interesting play here, and we're probably going to be moving towards more the Orisa-based comps than the standard Goats push. How do you feel on this one, Blackburn?
More or less, I am quite happy that we are going to see an Orisa sort of composition. Whether or not it includes Roadhog or Diva is yet to be seen. But also Double Sniper, very effective on this point as well. There are a lot of cheeky sort of areas, especially on left side by the Mega, where snipers tend to just use the 3 pillars as general cover fire and just peek shot people. But coming back to the general idea of Orisa Hog, or just basically Orisa herself, Orisa never really found a place in any sort of meta, never really been the most powerful of the main tanks, but maybe on this point she's always seemed to be a very tried and true pick just because of the pull, even with the nerf to the whole pull into the pit strategy.
I think Orisa's always been a solid defensive choice on a number of maps. She's often a very good first choice for those first point defenses. She just doesn't stick around. But the teams will be exchanging Hanzo fire as they make their way towards the point now.
Kazuki just instantly deletes Casso. I think that was pretty much across the map. Caused a map kill from that one, and subsequently Drak just booped the Beacon Man into the pit, and basically on the side of Arrow 404, they're just basically just steamrolling after an extraordinary first kill by Kazuki.
Yeah, so Error 404 setting up there very nicely, getting their point control. They're going to have ultimate advantage. They're going to be here for a while, which is definitely where you want to be in these control maps. First take, very important for the outcome of these. And now it's going to be on OmegaLUL to come through onto this one. It looks like they are going for the wraparound here with their comp, so that could give them a nice opening, and they've got Yui over on the McCree now. Oh, that's a
huge pull by Cassowary onto Seppo. Almost got Binden as well, but fortunately enough, he was on the edge there. But Binden just counters back with the kill onto Kerry. 1-1 trade right now. Binden a bit of trouble, though Kazuki just managed to get the save in with the Junkrat spam bomb, and they will continue to hold the point, pushing up to 40%.
Very great recovery there from Error 404. They were calm under pressure, they rotated well to deal with it, and getting that early trade back with Drift picking off a key target, really helping to win that fight for them. They did have to commit the Dragon Strike through there at the end, but Cassowary is now going over onto the Winston. He's given up on the Orisa altogether. Let's see if that change on the main tank can allow them to break through here.
Very smart choice coming out for the switch here. Generally, once you lose a technical team fight with the Orisa composition, you're looking to switch off immediately just because it takes a very long time to set up. Here comes a high noon. Instantly gets deleted by Grip on that Hanzo. This is basically a 6v5 right now. Cassowary just going in, but no, Kazuki gets the counter kill on the chest, and the D-Mac carry.
Oh, the point does flip right at the end there, though.
Point does flip, but it is all for naught. Here's a Dragon Strike coming in, a bit of a wasted one, unfortunately. It's just because the cap's just gonna come back in. Even at 8%, you might as well win the fight, and that's what inside Error 404 did. Coming up, they do have 3 ultimates. Whereas on the side of Omega, they only have the 2.
Yeah, that late kill on Akira is going to cost some time, and we'll see if he's going to swap off onto something else, because they've really only got 1 shot at this one. He is sitting in spawn, he swapped over to the Doomfist. He wants to get back quickly. They don't have a lot of time as the fight begins.
Omega comes in on the dive. Here comes the trend. Here comes the Kamehameha coming out from Drift. Counter sound barrier coming in. Taylor just pops the Transcendence, trying to keep everyone alive. Hopefully he can get a pick out of this if they want to try and stay into the fight. Here comes the extra 25% damage boost. Chaz gets a kill on Kazuki, and everyone is trading right now, but with Drift just got double killed. Double kill, and Yuri basically
he's up to quad now. That is huge. That is 5. I think he's just killed all of them. I think everyone on that was Drift there. He has just taken over this fight and taken over this game. and I think
Drift.
that OmegaLUL really needs to come up with an answer, because this Hanzo has just been absolutely dunking all over them so far.
Very, very true. Drift just popped off in the last fight. That's, like you said, I think he got basically the full team wipe by himself with the aid of that Orisa supercharger, just giving the extra 25% damage on each storm arrow shot. He got double kill off that. Moving on to the next point, we might be seeing goats on this one. Goats generally
I think
favorite.
we might be. Welcome to Village, welcome to Goats. So we're going to have a mirror match. Sorry, go ahead.
Surprisingly enough, I'm not seeing a Mei on this one. Generally, teams have actually been trying out the Mei and just bunkering on point with a general Goat style comp, more or less a tree support play. But no, we are going to see both the teams wrapping around. One team goes top left, the other one decides to go straight to the point right now, and it's huge anti actually. I think got like 3-4 people. They might push in on this. Yes, they are Cassowary going in for the hills, trying to swing in. Yuri gets a kill on the Draken. That's basically no speed boost to try and get back in or disengage from the fight. They can push in on this due to the fact that they can't get out. And it seems that OmegaLUL has found their stride in the Goats composition. They're going in extremely aggressive. Cassowary might be a bit of trouble. Nope, does get the aid to back out, and they manage to get the first cap.
Yeah, so as much as this fight is continuing on, we do have to say that OmegaLUL does have the advantage here composition-wise. The Ana Goats does have an advantage over the Moira Goats if executed well, and that's a huge anti-nade there, which may just open this one up. They're still trading positions on the point at the moment. That nano boost on the Cassowary is going to... Oh, that's a big shatter there by Brennan.
Here comes a counter shadow, unfortunately not as big, only getting 2 people, and Kazukid was bubbling, so Reinhardt cannot do anything. Here comes a Graviton invested to the point, and Era 404 punches back to cap the point at 30%.
Yeah, so they will cap that point there, but they did have to invest a lot more resources ultimately to make it happen. I mean, Chaz is already 30% to the next nano, so that will be up surprisingly quickly, and they, more importantly, have their grav bomb ready and available for the next fight. So if they execute that well, that should be an easy fight win to retake this point from OmegaLUL.
Drift already used the Brigade ultimate just to top everyone up into the upcoming fight. Here comes the early Graviton, here comes the Diva Bomb. Is it gonna get anything? It gets a double kill, been done instead for both guys taken down, both tanks dead. Without your main tank, you have nothing to protect it. This is just basically cleanup at this point and ultimate charging, and just like that, the cap comes back in at 39%. Basically, they're both capping it at about the same percentage rate.
Yeah, so not only has OmegaLUL managed to take that one, but I think Kazukid possibly jumped the gun a bit firing their own Diva Bomb. As a result, they've got Sound Barrier, they've got Rally, they've got a Shatter online, and they're going to have Nano soon as well, which means that OmegaLUL should be able to hold this point through the next fight as well, unless something drastic happens. Era 404 need to try and equalize this one, but it may be a bridge too far so at the moment.
Brawl on the point right now as Goats beat Goats trying to go in. Here comes a Shield Bash Earth Shatter. It's huge. Gets 3-4 people. Kazukid finishes off Cassowary while he was stunned. And just like that, the cap should come back in favor of Error 404. And just depends on whether or not how fast they manage to clean up. Yep, everyone is dead. And cap comes in and should be about this 74%. Or 75, I guess.
So very nicely played there by Era 404. They managed to get that one. They managed to get that one cheaply. They still are a bit behind in the ultimate economy, but because they have the grav up next fight, they have some tools to keep this point ticking up. This next fight could honestly go either way. It depends on who executes first and who executes best. If that grav gets eaten by a defense matrix, it can be all over for Era 404.
Here comes the nano boost on the Cassowary. He got to go for a shadow. Unfortunately, got read out and blocked. Here comes the grav. Here comes the Graviton bomb combo. Is he gonna get anything? No, does not get anything. And Vindas actually threw his Earth Shatter into that, but unfortunately was blocked as well. Seppu got animated and completely destroyed. Here comes another Diva Bomb. Is he gonna get anything? Nope. But it does not matter, as OmegaLUL should be able to cap this due to the fact they are still 6-man, and yep, everyone else should have retreated.
Yeah, so here we're heading into possibly the last fight, possibly penultimate fight, depending on how this one goes. And you have to say, if Cassowary lands a big shatter here, that's it. That's the end for this one, and it puts OmegaLUL back into the running as we go into the third stage. But we'll see how it goes. That Sound Barrier could be everything.
That was a very big shadow. Unfortunately, Cassowary could not capitalize on it through the Drax sound barrier. He did manage to get the party kill onto Drift. Here comes a counter Earth Shatter by Binden. He manages to get 2, and he's just swinging for the hills. Manages to get 2-3 people off of that. And the counter cap will come in at 81%. We are going to the last fight with both teams having about 1 ultimate. Sefu does have that graviton, possibly could be able to stop them from getting on the point.
Exactly, that grab from Sefu could very easily be the end of the game here, and unfortunately Kirei having only just respawned means they don't have the Matrix to protect from it. This should actually be an easy cap due to that, and there it is.
Here comes the early graviton, just preventing anyone from grabbing on the point, and it works out in their favor. Era 404 will take the lead in this series.
Absolutely, and yeah, it really just came down to Kirei not being there with the team as they pushed in. There is a time to just take a quick death and reset, and when you got 1 fight left, that is absolutely the time. And here's Drift just absolutely cleaning up. Just watch this.
Comes the Dragon Strike, gets 2 people. And yeah, he basically popped off on that Hanzo on Sanctum. But coming back to the actual, the more interesting, more fair fight, I would assume, of the village where we saw both GOATS maps, you could see that both teams were generally even. I think the advantage came on to Era 404, where if you notice, they actually, even though it was 1 fight won, 1 fight lost, 1 fight won, 1 fight lost, Era 404 was actually getting a more tick percentage, I think about 9-10 ticks higher a bit.
I disagree on that. I think OmegaLUL was actually up through most of it. They had the ult. They were building more percentage. They had better ult charge. It really just came to a couple of key mistakes right towards the end that meant that they had no defense for that grab having to push in. It came down to, unfortunately, shattering right after a sound barrier had been dropped, so they couldn't follow up on the shatter. And then, of course, Kiro not being able to be there with the team for their final push in. But other than that, I think OmegaLUL were actually pound for pound coming out on top in the GOATS battle, but it all just came down to those last 2 fights.
Well, difference of opinion, but I think both points are very much valid. Enough about that. Let's move on to Watchpoint Gibraltar. At least this map is not very GOATS heavy favorite. We might see a bit of the new version of GOATS as pure. What do you call it?
I believe, we may see the Mountain GOATS, the Winston-based GOATS composition. Sometimes can be Winston Diva Zaya. Sometimes you got a Wrecking Ball in there. It's just a vertical GOATS, but at the same time, I would not count it out for these AAOL teams to try and find a way to work GOATS into these maps.
Very, very true. But I'm hoping to see more Widowmaker play. Widowmaker very much favorite on these sort of maps where there's a high amount of verticality, and there's a high amount of verticality on all 3 ports. So hopefully they do have someone who does play Widowmaker to a very high standard that can potentially just get those early aggressive picks that can easily snowball into a very quick first point cap.
Maybe so, or maybe we'll see Drift going back to the Hanzo again and just absolutely taking off heads with those arrows.
Very, very true. I think for the most part in Watchpoint Gibraltar's general history, Dive has always been the most favorite one, even going back to the triple tank, triple tank meta of, I think Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, you did see a lot of Winston still played over that Reinhardt just because of the verticality. So at least we're not going to see 2 Reinhardt smashing each other for the most part until maybe coming into third point.
Maybe. I mean, as I said, it comes down to if both teams lock in GOATS, then it's still going to be a GOATS v GOATS fight over the card. And I've seen it before. I've gone into games going, this is Gibraltar, we're going to see something other than GOATS, and then just both teams immediately lock GOATS and just go, yeah, there's high ground, but we don't care, we're not going to use it. So I never count it out anymore, just due to that. We will have a bit of a delay before getting into this map, just one of the players having a few technical difficulties. So I think we may possibly take a quick break here just until they get back.
I think in the meantime, we can just more or less talk about both the teams. What do you think OmegaLUL was very much lacking, especially on the first point of Sanctum when they were running that sort of Orisa? Hawk, I think general positioning-wise, you can see Kazukit just gets getting a lot of value out of that Junkrat, getting those cheeky sort of bouncing off walls, and managed to actually kill, for instance, Cassowary even before the fight started without the Orisa. you basically can't push onto the point itself.
Yeah, well, Cassowary took a arrow to the head and was then finished off by the Junkrat bombs. I think honestly the big thing was just they had no pressure on Drift on that Hanzo whatsoever, and so he was just consistently putting huge amounts of damage in there. Kazoo Kid was also positioned back. They were playing it back, playing safe, and OmegaLUL just didn't have any way to actually go and contest those DPS that were free firing into them.
Even with the rotation around, they managed to actually get. I think when the first rotation came around on Sanctum, they got the early pick. It was just unfortunate that I think their Hanzo, I think it was Kirei, was not with the team actually. He actually went over the wall and tried to 1v1 the enemy Orisa on Arrow 404 and actually got killed. I think that's what solidified them not actually managing to cap the point on that second point fight there.
Yeah, well, the other issue is that when they rotated through, the shield went down onto the bottom of the steps, and unfortunately there were still team members at the top of the steps, and the shield's only so high, which means there were heads sticking up over the top, and thus there were Hanzo arrows being fired just straight into the team. The team was not pushed forwards enough to use the shield. As a result, I was only sort of half doing its job, and they were still fairly exposed to just that withering fire. The other problem is when you're running into a narrow corridor like that against a Junkrat, you're going to take a lot of damage, and without having a D.Va to eat some of that, it's a hard fight to take there. So, a couple of things that were going against their favor. They obviously did get that early Holt pull into there and took out the enemy Roadhog, but the kills came back against them very quickly because even though they'd rotated around, they were still quite exposed to enemy fire, and it showed. But
very true. Yeah, very, very true. I think those are all points, and more or less, I think we can just so some of those things we can't really anticipate, especially something like throwing down a Orisa barrier, and just so happens that the steps were, still showing your heads. But enough about that. Let's move on to Watch Point Gibraltar.
Absolutely, and it looks like we will be seeing... Oh, no, we're not going to see Genjis on both teams after all, but we will see Yui on the Genji, which I think we have actually seen broadcast before. I do have some memories of Yui being quite a good Genji, so that may be a difference maker here for OmegaLUL as we go into another pause. And Kirei over on the Widow as you had requested. So they are going to be going for a Genji Widow defense here on the part of OmegaLUL. On the attack at Era 404, it looks like they're looking to get pretty up close and personal with this Doomfist Sombra combo. And it looks like we are going to be seeing dive tanks from both sides. So no goats as of yet, not even mountain goats, which should be good. I wonder if Drac is going to be staying on the Lucio there, because Lucio doesn't work especially well with that dive-heavy team, but maybe he's more to protect Ana and help her get away from any aggressive defensive dives. We'll see if they stick with that, or if they do change that up before they come out the doors.
They might just be using Drax to just speed boost out and then switch off to another hero, perhaps. I mean, you don't generally see on any other map, but it is, somewhat applicable at times. Maybe not so much, especially on the payload map, because you're at the bend of the payload moving at speeds. But like I said, anything is possible. I think. I think the much better pick, especially with them on attack, is maybe a Zenyatta, especially with Zen Ana with Drift on that Doomfist and Kazukid on the Sombra. You want to just try and get as much value as you can out of Discords and Ana nades and stuff like that. So you just one shot.
Yeah, Zen Ana is very powerful. It's also just very vulnerable though. If they get a good defensive dive onto those supports, they're both dead very easily. So that's the main reason to run Lucio over Zen here. And I think that's what we're sort of going to be expecting from Drac, is he's there to peel for Ana, he's there to get her out of trouble, and protect him from some defensive dives.
Kazuki just basically scouting out where everyone is generally being set up. He is trying to rotate around to the top side just to try and give the team. And while the fight is underway right now, Cassowary and the D.Va just trying to get in, just trying to stall the card, with Genji just trying to get a pick, but Kazuki gets a counter kill onto Kirei, Drift punches Yui into the wall, see you later, Sefu gets a kill onto Beacon Man, and this should be an easy, fast first cap on the side of Arrow 404.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Their initial engagement there looked good, but they just couldn't get enough damage through quick enough. And as a result of that, we are actually going to see Kirei go over onto the Tracer, so obviously not feeling that great on the Widow, but it can be hard when you got a Doomfist and a Sombra jumping at you. A lot of pressure to perform there, so understandable. And,
I think, like you said, when running this Ana and Zen composition, which OmegaLUL is currently running right now, you don't. Another thing is you're not really getting as much heals just because Zen Orb is very, very slow, especially against something like a Doomfist Sombra. So I think so. I'm hoping to see Taylor actually switch off. He is getting pressured right now, and subsequently killed by Sefu. He did not get the peel. He couldn't get help, and your entire support lineup just got completely crushed, as you saw there. This should be an easy fight coming in on the side of Arrow 404. They might just be able to cap it off this fight, to be honest.
Yeah, they should be able to. I can't actually see a way for OmegaLUL to get back in here easily. They might be able to get... No, they're not. Yeah, no one's in position at all to touch it. They're just going to set up for third here.
Yeah, very much so. You can see Beacon Man just basically feeding in the start of the fight there. He basically tried to jump top left. He got instantly destroyed. They had no choice but to back up. And the aggression coming out of Binden to just call for the dives. Sefu just basically found Taylor just hiding on the top left alone, just completely destroyed, and they just want to fight off that. They have incredible time of 5 minutes 28 coming into third point, but enough about that. Let's move on to the next fight. They are OmegaLUL does fire back. They Kirei on that Brigitte just managed to kill Binden in the early parts of the fight. I'm not sure if they needed to invest a nano boost into that just because the main tank was already killed, but that's already invested. So on the side of Arrow 404, they have a lot of ultimates coming up though.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously the attackers haven't really had a fight that they've really needed to commit anything to. They backed out of that one. Binden gets caught out early, gets antied, gets punished, and they just back off there and take it. There's Kazuki with the EMP, and here comes the counter trans. Very nicely executed there by Taylor.
Yep, basically hiding top right corner over there. Kazuki did not find him when he actually went in for the EMP. I think he just went for a Hail Mary EMP hoping to find Taylor there, but unfortunately he was smart enough to just stay on top left. But this fight is underway. No deaths yet. Binden does get actually anti and got nano boost. Unfortunately the anti just couldn't get healed and he got instantly killed. Here comes the Diva Bomb right now. Manages to DMAC Castle, and Drift gets the Doomfist Meteor Punch onto Taylor. But I think for right now, OmegaLUL should be able to continue to hold this point.
Yeah, it's just a matter of staggering out those last few kills, but nonetheless, the cart has made its way into a very dangerous spot. Defenders really can't afford to drop any more fights. Yui does have the grab though on the Xayah, and we have no ultimates available on the side of Era 404 as they have just swapped over their tank line to match what they're expecting here. There's the grab from Yui.
Here comes the Graviton with a bomb combo. Is it gonna end? It gets through, gets Drift and Direct. They were not behind the shield. They just got killed and subsequently destroyed. But very good cycle of ultimates coming out of OmegaLUL. Right now they do have the Nano Monkey coming in, and well, on the side of Arrow 404, just because that fight went over so quickly and no blows were generally exchanged, or at least poke were done. Both their tank ultimates still below 35%. No one is generally close to an ultimate except for Kazuki that's coming up on that 80% to a possible EMP.
Yeah, I mean, we hopefully... Oh, okay. I was just going to say hopefully they go for a primal play before the nano, but no, they have committed the nano here. Still a nice, clean, quick fight win on the part of the defenders there, sending Era 404 back to spawn once again. They're starting to get some time off this clock.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, that was just another clean fight. Binden is not even up to, is only just now reaching 50% of his actual Earth Shatter, which I think is a bit of a bad choice. I mean, who are you going to take the Earth Shatter in this composition? Everyone can generally just go high ground, but coming into the fight, you can see Drift actually switched off onto the Pharah right now instead of the Hanzo, is not getting much value. Drak just threw in the sound barrier right now, just trying to keep everyone alive. They could have possibly reset that, but unfortunately no, they will invest that into the fight right now. They are trying to push in without the main tank, surprisingly enough, but to no avail. Griff is just basically poking, trying to get his ultimate up.
We are going to see a big EMB from Kazuki very soon, though, especially with how grouped up the defenders are at the moment. Oh, there's a grab, though. That's going to end this fight before that happens.
Huge triple kill from the top rope. Diva Bomb came down and dunked on Arrow 4 for them, but fortunately enough, you could see that even though they were getting beaten up, 3, 4, 5 fights, just because of the quick push that they gave onto first and second point, they still have a minute 40, and as you can see, they have 5 ultimates up. This is probably their best time to try and push this into a cap.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor's going to have a sound barrier very soon, but when you're facing down a grab barrage, the sound barrier is not going to do enough. There's the grab, there's the barrage, but it only gets one. It's not what they were looking for, and the Zarya bubble onto Drift doesn't quite manage to save him from the sleep in time. That said, they have managed to still punch through this one by sheer force of ultimate.
Beacon Man just trying to stall the point right now with the Primal Rage. He's trying to fight Binden right now, and he will start to back up, just trying to get as much support ultimates as he can. Yuri switched over to the McCree right now. Perhaps just trying to get a stun and an early kill here. Huge Earth Shatter gets 3 people. They managed to kill the Brigade, which is probably one of the biggest things that they need to take care of. And Binden just basically swinging for the hills. They are currently steamrolling Arrow 404 with only 45 last seconds left on the clock. They should be able, on this OmegaLUL might be able to just stall this point to a potential overtime.
Kuro's in on the Tracer, but immediately gets hacked. It's going to put him into a very dangerous position, and Bakerman is just buying time for teammates to get back. They just need to keep this card alive. There's the sound barrier from Taylor. Here's their sustain. Without any DPS up, they're not going to be able to drop anyone down. Griff drops the barrage, most of it eaten by the Matrix, but it doesn't matter because there's no DPS available, and that is eventually going to get that across the line there. Something like 13 seconds left on the clock there. Still a very good 3rd point hold coming out from OmegaLUL.
Yes, very, very true. They burned over like 5 minutes off the clock on just defense alone. I think that more or less made up for the mistakes that happened on the first and second point there. So, a very, very doable sort of attack coming out of OmegaLUL, coming into Gibraltar to potentially just cap it with still a higher time compared to Arrow 404.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as they can get this one through, the potential's there, but that 3rd point can very easily turn into that hold for both teams, and they still need to get through the first 2 stages of the map as well. We'll see what... Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I think there's a bit of a miscommunication on the side of Arrow 404 when it came to actual team composition. So you think coming into 3rd point, they were just basically switching out a lot of heroes. Drift was switching from Doomfist to Hanzo. Hanzo tried to get up to about 50%, didn't work out, switched over to Pharah, and everyone just kept switching the lineups, I think at about the 2-3 minute mark, which...
Yeah, you could definitely see some desperation in them. There was a couple of questionable ultimates and fights that they maybe should have just backed out of. They were just trying to force something through, because they'd lost 2, 3, 4 fights in a row. They're starting to feel the pressure, and I think that's where things are starting to get to them a little bit, but eventually they, with the weight of 5 ultimates online, were able to brute force their way through and eventually get that one across the line.
Okay.
Alright then, let's move on to the next map. You can see Yui on that Sombra doing the same thing Kazuki did on their attack, I would say. And
Kazuki
right
doing
now just...
some reconnaissance of his own and jumping Kure there, but the Mercy is there for the peel, so Kazuki is going to need to back off and find a new approach.
Surprisingly enough, Arrow 404 is just running the same sort of same attack strat they did on the defense. Let's see whether or not it actually works in this case. Right now, let's see if any fights come in. Kiri gets an early kill onto Drift, but Drift on that Doomfist gets a kill onto Chaz, and Brendan gets a kill onto Taylor. Right now, the attackers should be starting to back out right now, and hopefully not get picked off by Kiri on that Widowmaker.
Absolutely. I mean, when you lose both supports that early in the fight, that's it. There's nothing to do with the pack up and go home. They are going to have to find a way to neutralize the Doomfist dive coming down from the high ground, as it can just very easily delete Taylor on the Zen. Yui can potentially provide some defense there if he's in the right position. Yui also tends to want to be scouting forwards.
Coming into the fight, you can see Yui invests the EMP. Let's see if he manages to get anything out of it right now. Unfortunately not, but Kiri does get the parting kill onto Drift, and Yui gets the kill onto Drak. It's a 6v5 on the point, and Seppu manages to get the kill onto Cherry, and basically, yeah, I think OmegaLUL should be able to try and push this into a first point cap, not as fast as Arrow 4-4, but still in a respectable time of over 2 minutes.
Absolutely, and I think Kazuki is going to try and do some desperate last pushing there. They do get Taylor with the bomb, which is a bit unexpected. They've turned more of a fight into this than we'd think. Another Diva bomb blasting overhead, nothing happening, and the point flip does go over. Ooh, there goes the little Diva from Cassowary there. So, a bit of a strange fight there.
Yeah, a bit of a strange fight coming out of that one. A lot of ultimates invested, surprisingly enough, in that fight. Even though it was not needed, they could have just possibly let it happen. But I think, fortunately enough for on the side of OmegaLUL, you can see that Drift was forced to use the Doomfist ultimate just to hit down. But he has switched off onto the Genji right now, hopefully trying to get a Nano Blade up or for the upcoming fight. Fights going on everywhere right now, but Taylor and Chaz are the only ones to on the point. Beacon Man gets a counter kill onto Cherry, but Drift then Kazuki just basically up. This fight's going on everywhere.
Yeah, very spread out. They're all over the map here, just in little ones and twos, and it does actually look like different teams are winning in different parts of the map. So it's almost anyone's guess how this one's going to go in the end, but the cart is still gradually inching forwards a few meters at a time.
It seems that at the end of it, defenders spawn advantage has came up, and on the side of Arrow 4-4, they will continue to hold. Binden actually gets an early kill onto Kiri right now. That means OmegaLUL has to reset, and that burns another 10 seconds off the clock, I believe, unless someone else gets killed. No, Cassowary actually gets a counter kill on the Binden. They might actually push in on this just because they have the fastest spawn advantage. Yes, they are trying to push onto the cart, and Arrow 4-4 notices that and starts backing up, just trying to give them space and buy time for Binden to come back in. But as you can see, Drift does have that Dragon Blade up right now, but Taylor does have the Transcendence. Here comes the Transcendence trying to counter it, but it was a bit too late to try and save Chaz. Without the Mercy right now, you're basically losing quite a lot of healing. If they manage to kill Taylor in this fight, yep, Taylor goes down, and Arrow 4-4 will continue to hold this.
They did, however, have to commit both the Genji Blade and the EMP, and did so out of sequence in order to clutch that one through at the end. We do have the EMP about to be available on the part of the Cassowary getting staggered out there. So we will see Yui ready to drop that EMP, and there is no sound barrier potentially available to save that one. So it's going to be a very dicey fight if Yui's able to get a good EMP off in this next fight. We also have both tank ultimates and Chaz's Valkyrie available. So a lot of tools in the toolkit of OmegaLUL here. They should be able to win this next fight and get this one across the line.
Very, very true. As you said, Yui is basically... Ooh, but no, Binden gets an early kill onto Taylor even before the fight started. Kiri sleeping on the job right now. Is he going to get one shot? No, manages to recall. Cassowary gets a counter kill onto Cherry, but Kazuki kills Chaz on the backside of that fight. Without your Mercy, you are losing quite a lot of healing, but that doesn't seem to matter as Bacon Man just kills Drak, and he is primarily on the point. Here comes an EMP right now with the Diva Bomb. Unfortunately, the Diva Bomb got cut by the actual payload, but it doesn't seem to matter as the Bacon Man has popped off and killed 3 people with that Primal Rage to cap it with 2 minutes and 45 seconds on that clock.
And they did that without their supports. Taylor and Chaz both got jumped on aggressively and taken out, and they just brute forced that fight through without worrying about their supports. I do have to feel sorry for Chaz and Taylor here. They're really not getting any peel whatsoever, but the team is making it happen without them somehow.
2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. They have a pretty good chance of trying to cap this point with still a decent time, but unfortunately you can see on the side of Arrow 4-4 they have a number of ultimates, and Drax are already close to another one. But on the side of the fight, the Bacon Man they all somehow managed to get into the funnel Arrow 4 into the corner there and completely destroyed them. you can't use your ultimates if you're dead, I guess. Even though they have 5 ultimates up, they're gonna have to use it extremely hastily and not in the best position to try and at least get on the point. Here comes the EMP and the Nano Dragon Blade right now. Is it gonna get anything right now? You guys just get Kirei on the side and both Yui. They basically had to input, I think, 4 ultimates in that fight, just try to stabilize at the 1 minute 30 mark, and the only thing they have left is a sound barrier.
But that's absolutely fine, considering they were basically bottled up in their spawn there. They needed to invest big to be able to contest this card. So this is absolutely what they needed to do. And if that fight had dragged on, then Bacon Man would have had a shatter up, and that could have easily been the end of the whole thing. We're going to see Binden and Bacon Man both with shatters online for this next fight. So it's going to come down to the old Ryan v Ryan mind game. Whoever wins that one.
Yep, basically Yuri managed to get the hack onto Binden there, then follow up by an Earth Shatter. As you said, that basically seals the deal for them, and even though they did not have a great attack onto the first and second point as compared to Arrow 404, OmegaLUL will still cap at a much faster pace compared to them.
Well, it is much faster by sort of an order of scale, but at the same time, 1 minute 42 versus 1 minute, it's almost the same. There's one extra fight available for OmegaLUL here, and considering how badly their first and second point defenses went, that one fight can easily be not enough. They're going to need to do a lot better on the early parts of this map if they're going to take Gibraltar away on this one.
Yeah, it's very, very true. It just comes down to whether or not they will, basically you're right. It just comes down to who has the better team fight, who has the better execution on the team fights, and that will more or less decide whether or not OmegaLUL will tie up the series or Arrow 404 will take a 2-0 lead coming up. Both teams right now, I think, should be sticking onto similar sort of compositions that they both ran on these first points, just having a slight change maybe to support lineups and just trying to protect the more key members that potentially will get dived.
Yeah, so I like that we're seeing the Lucio and the Brigadier here from OmegaLUL, because those were the tools that were able to allow them to stabilize the defense. So, Kazoo Kid on the Genji and Drift on the Sombra, both fairly vulnerable to that Brigida, so she could be absolutely instrumental in shutting down this attack and allowing a nice early hold.
Bacon Man and the side of OmegaLUL deciding to go for an early fight right now. Yui gets a kill onto Drake, and they are basically stopping Arrow 404 right at the door of their spawn. They are not letting them out, and they are not letting them push this card any further past the bend right now. Kiri gets a counter kill onto Drift, however, and Katsuri does manage to actually de-max Sephiroth without the. But no, it seems that OmegaLUL's general high aggression defense right now coming into play, and it seems to be working.
I like it a lot. If you're going to run the Brigadier here, this early hold is absolutely the right play. If you go for a back of point A hold, there's a lot more space, a lot more places for people to be spread out. Brigadier wants these nice type fights, and you'll get that just under this bridge here.
Kazuki gets an early kill onto Yuri, unfortunately, but Taylor gets a counter kill onto Kazuki. Both Brigittes down on both sides right now, but a huge spawn advantage onto the side of Arrow 404 right now. Drift gets a kill onto Taylor. I think in this instance, OmegaLUL should start backing up, but they would try to drag as much ultimates as they can out of Arrow 404. But no, Kiri gets nano boosted and goes for a Dragon Blade. Just get the kill onto Drak. Drift gets a counter kill onto Beacon Man. Yuri manages to get back into the fight and kill Drift. This is still anyone's game, surprisingly, but as I said before, the spawn advantage is so highly in favor of Arrow 404 that they can possibly just continuously feed but gain the much faster reinforcements to try and win this fight outright.
Yeah, we really needed a bigger blade there from Kirei to end this fight, because the longer it drags on, the more advantage it is for Arrow 404. So we do see them back off here. They still can potentially hold this one at A though. There's the sound barrier. They're going to go in hard on this one.
Yeah, this is probably the best time right now to try and stop this card from pushing any further. Here comes a Diva Bomb.
Oh, that's huge.
No, it only gets Drift, but that might be what they need. It actually managed to D-Max Sephiroth, and Katsuri in the Baby D form gets the kill on the Binden. This is OmegaLUL's best time and only time right now to try and stop the to try and stop the cart from getting pushed any further away from here. And I think they are going to be able to do it. Here comes a nano boost at Cassowary. He's going to have to get a kill, and Drax manages to get slept. Here comes an Annihilate getting 2-3 people, and this should be it for Arrow 404 to try and push this cart any further.
Absolutely. I mean, all they've got really available is Sephu's bomb. Unless they get a freakishly good bomb here, I can't see it turning around. And I don't even know if that D.Va's going to be back in play in time. And no one else is available. There's the D.Va bomb. Just going to be buying time for Sephu and Bindon. Bindon goes down. It's just a matter of cleaning up Sephu on the cart here. We do have the supports coming back, but 2 supports and a D-Mech D.Va does not make a team fight. And it is still just clean up here. They're stalling out really well, but that D.Va bomb on the cart is going to make it very difficult. And Curio's got the Blade Black. That should clean up anyone clustering around that cart. If they step away for a second, that overtime bar is gone. And there it is. And so we do have a decisive comeback there from OmegaLUL, holding it under the arch there. They have 1 minute and 40 seconds to equal that push. Are they up to the task?
Extremely great play coming out of OmegaLUL, as you said. A very good early stomp at the door to just push it into overtime, and a very smart choice to disengage so that the continuous respawn advantage that Arrow 404 has at the door is basically negated somewhat, and it's more or less trying to get even out coming into the fight itself. So extremely great play coming out of OmegaLUL. Let's see whether or not they can recreate smart plays coming in onto their attack.
Absolutely, and it looks like we are going to be seeing something a bit different from them, as we are actually seeing Arrow 404 locking in the Goats comp. They want to fight this one on the ground, they want to fight this one in the gates. They've seen holding people in spawn as the way to go, and so they are bringing out the Goats to try and do that. But it looks like OmegaLUL has actually anticipated this as well, because they've got their own Goats comp. We are going to have a Goats on Goats brawl at the gates of Point A spawn in Gibraltar to decide who wins this map.
I guess you were right when you said that Goats on Gibraltar is a thing. I doubted you at first. Now I'm watching it unfold in my eyes, and here comes the fight literally right in front of the cart.
Well, in the context of this, because the defensive hold with the dive tanks plays best in the last part of A, which they don't get to, Goats makes a lot of sense, but they're being too passive. They need to get on that cart, and there they go now.
Here comes a nice anti onto the tanks of OmegaLUL, but Kirei gets a kill on the Bindon. I think this match, though, Kazuki actually gets a counter kill onto the Baker Man. Both teams do not have that right heart right now, and Drift manages to get Yuri, who is a bit too deep. You may be Brigitte, but you're not technically invincible unless you have your team with you. Arrow 404 will continue to hold this fight right now, but Yuri has switched off to the Pharah right now. He knows there's nothing can stop him on this Pharah. Possibly the D.Va is the only thing that can try and stop him, and this fight is coming in to very close right now. Yuri is most likely going to try and get to the back of them and just try to rain as much rockets down as they can. Kirei gets an early kill on the Kazuki.
Oh,
here comes a huge shatter out of the Bacon Man. This fight is done. This fight is done and dusted. OmegaLUL will tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah, just very nicely played there by OmegaLUL. I think Error 404 maybe misunderstood how to do it. I think the Goats on that first point defense makes a lot of sense, but you have to play for the spawn camp. You have to play super aggressive and try and hold them really early, like we saw out of OmegaLUL. They were a little too passive, reluctant to engage, and as a result, even though they won that first fight, it was a bit of a slog, and it didn't go as cleanly as you needed. You've got to be right on top of them immediately, try and end the fight instantly. Unfortunately, OmegaLUL able to farm too many ultimates, able to get out of it in a little too good order, and then Yui going over onto the Pharah because they've got time to swap things up, just signals the beginning of the end for that one with those uncontested high damage rockets raining in from above.
I think the main reason why Arrow 404 didn't actually just commit, as you said, was maybe because they were a bit afraid of Chaz. If you notice, Chaz was actually still on top of the spawn, actually on top of those boxes at a range where no one could have actually contested him except unless they send the D.Va to just try and push him back into spawn, which is a bit of a wasted resource. Maybe they were just a bit too afraid of it and they wanted to let the cart push over to the bend so Chaz did not get LOS. and was forced to drop down. Unfortunately, they did not capitalize on him dropping down and actually killing him first before moving on to the card. So maybe a small little display on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you absolutely send your diva over to completely block out their Ana. I think that's a perfect use of resources, especially if they're running goats. What else is diva really needed to block? So I would have liked to see a more aggressive hold out of them. But we are going to be going over to Horizon Lunar Colony here, so we can probably expect a reprise of the goats heavy compositions on over this first point of the space station.
Yep, very, very true. Let's move on to the next map, Goats Comp. Well, basically, we're most likely going to see it, especially on second point after a very heavy stonewall onto first point. That's what you generally see with most compositions here. Yuri, Kirei on Torbjorn? Torbjorn, what's your thoughts on that? Maybe.
Well, if it's like my rank gains at the moment, a Torbjorn is inevitable. But no, it's Torbjorn has always been good on the first point defense of Horizon, even before his rework, even when he was considered a bit of a throw pick. He's always been good on Horizon A. It's one of those few places that he's always shined. So I think he definitely could work, but they are going to be just locking in that Goats composition. And I think we will be seeing some Goats on Goats brawl. Again, we do have Chaz on the Ana though, so we do have the slight compositional advantage there on the part of OmegaLUL, because Ana Goats is considered stronger than Moira Goats. For we are actually going back to the lobby. We just need
apparently it was set to quick play and not competitive, so they are just gonna have to make a small quick reset onto that.
It's alright. It was at least before gates were open, so neither of the teams has seen the other's compositions, and yet I'm sure every player in this lobby is 100% certain on what their opponents are playing.
Alright then, but at least we now more or less understand what they are going to play. It's going to be basically a Goats v Goats. What would you like to see coming out of Aero 404, or whichever team is basically on defense, to try and stop the attacking Goats from capping the point? Is it an early base drop onto them as they try to rotate through any of the left or right sides, or is it just basically a brawl on the point, in your opinion?
I think it depends on how good your Ana is, because if Chaz can get in a key sleep or a key biotic grenade on the approach, then you absolutely take the fight straight to them the moment that lands. It's absolutely what you want to do. But if you're not confident on your Ana getting that sort of sick play, or if you're pretty sure that their diva isn't going to be faked out and is going to be able to catch that with the Matrix, then your best bet for Goats v Goats brawl as a defender is still to take a very aggressive fight. Let's face it, Goats is an aggressive comp. You want to be getting the drop on them, jumping out from an unexpected angle, and making their life hell before they can react. So I think if you're defending Goats v Goats, you want to set up in a room somewhere, or you want to set up on the high ground, just somewhere we can get that quick engagement. You want to drop on them quickly. But I think they've got the right move there with Chaz on the Ana, because Ana Goats is, as mentioned, quite strong, especially when she's got this high ground here. We actually are going to be seeing the Zen Goats out of Era 404, which is basically the answer to the Ana Goats. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one unfolds.
Chaz tries to go in for a throw onto the side of Era 404. Unfortunately, it was actually blocked by the Brigade. But now a brawl on the point right now, it's still basically anyone's game. Brigade's alive, they're basically trading kills 1-for-1 right now, but I think the advantage is onto the side of Aero 404 most likely. But
yeah, I think Aero 404 have a tank still up and they have spawn advantage. So with those two factors, they've definitely got the advantage here. They've taken the space, but they need to get this point underway, and they need to try and get a lot done before Bacon Man's able to make it back in the fight. Bindon is there ready to receive though.
Yeah, now basically a second fight onto the point right now after a very brawly fight in the staircase on the left side there. But it seems that huge Earth Shatter Bindon was a bit preoccupied trying to fight Casimiri after he tried to knock him down, and he basically Bacon Man managed to capitalize on that and win the team outfight. But no, Drift gets a double kill with the actual Diva Bomb.
I think it's too little too late.
Yeah, a bit too little today. If he managed to get the kill onto Yui, who's on that Brigade, maybe he could have tried and pushed in on that, but basically if you're fighting a Brigade with a D.Va, you're most likely gonna get D-Mac.
Yeah, when you're the last person alive on D.Va, even if you get a big one, as long as they've still got D.Va plus the support up, you're not going to be able to win that one. But the next attack will come in before the defenders are quite ready for it. Actually, no, the defenders are in position, thanks to Taylor being on the Lucio.
Here comes another Shield Bash Earthshatter combo. They are basically trading 1-for-1 right now. Kazukid is dead, so that is a very big advantage for OmegaLUL to try and win this fight without the actual Brigade. You do lose that burst healing, which is very crucial in Goats. Cassowary also gets a counter kill on the Bindon, and Drak decided to use the Transcendence, and Kirin just got nano boosted right now. He's basically going to get his ultimate up in the upcoming fight. This is still very much in favor of OmegaLUL's defending to just try to at least continue to hold the point, coming up to about 1 minute 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think you've got to be very happy with that fight if you're OmegaLUL. It was a bit dicey in a few places, but now they've got Shatter online, they've got Grab online. The attackers really do not have a lot of tools in their toolkit. And as we can see, they're getting very aggressive. They know they've got the ultimate advantage here. They are going to back off and get some healing now, regroup themselves, but you should be able to see another easy fight win from OmegaLUL here as the attackers push on through.
Here comes a Graviton right now, gets two people. Bindon basically got destroyed. He was the only one on the other side at that point. I'm not sure whether or not Bakerman had to invest that Earthshatter. You're basically hitting one person as the rest of them were around the corner, but it seems... But, you know, you might as well just invest in for that male dominance, I would call it. Just that Reinhardt dominance. I could just Earthshatter one person, even though it's unnecessary.
I think it may come back to bite them in this next fight, because we do have the tables flipped here. Sefu and Bindum are both going to have their big tank ultimates available, and there's not a sound barrier available to defend against it. So, Bacon Man not having Shatter here could cost them this fight quite easily.
Huge Earthshatter, that's 4 people on the ground, and Bacon Man just sweep for the hill, gets a kill on Kazukid. Cassowary gets a kill onto Sefu. But even with the combo of Bindon and Sefu, it seems that OmegaLUL managed to actually strive through, and they will actually hold this to a first point.
Yeah, I mean, just very, very nicely played by them. They've managed to pull through in that one. And yeah, that Shatter is going to the thing. And the other thing of note in there is Chaz actually threw the nano boost onto the D.Va mech, onto Yui's D.Va mech, as Yui self-destructed. So they didn't even get good value from the nano, and they still won that fight. Very unfortunate that the attackers couldn't get a proper usage of their grab to set up a fight win there, but sometimes that's just how it be go.
Very, very true. Basically, a very great defense coming out of OmegaLUL there, and it's a very tall order for Arrow 404 to try and beat this there. It is possible, but it's still a very tall order.
Absolutely. I mean, they've been 72.8% is not entirely a full hold, because obviously there's been more than a first tick, but at the same time, given the overwhelming spawn advantage that the attackers typically have here, I think it's going to be very hard pressed to see them come out on top, especially because every time we've seen this goats on goats battle, I feel like OmegaLUL has been the stronger team for this matchup. So we do need to see something else out of Era 404 to turn this around, and indeed we will, because we will have Drift back on the Hanzo and Kazukid back on the Junkrat as well. Worked very well for them in Sanctum. Let's see if they can repeat the success here on Horizon Lunar Colony.
Yes, moving in. Let's see whether or not this goes all. Kazukid and Drift on that Hanzo and Junkrat. Basically high spam damage heroes just trying to break the GOAT's composition coming out of OmegaLUL. I'm pretty sure on the side of Era 404 they are expecting them to run this composition. And now let's see whether or not this high damage spam can outbreak the tankiness of the GOAT's composition.
Well, it's all in this first fight. If they're able to win the first fight here, if Era 404 can deal with the goats, they're going to have ultimates online, and then they're going to have a much easier time continuing up the hold. It really is all on this first fight to make or break.
You can see right now, Sefu, a bit out of position there. He could have actually punished the outside of OmegaLUL, but no, he managed to get into safety right now. And here comes Bakerman actually gets the counter destroy onto Kazukid's Riptire, but unfortunately Drift is popping off once again, getting 2 kills, killing both the tanks on the side of OmegaLUL. This should be another quick reset coming out of OmegaLUL, but as you can see, they do have that nano boost right now, which can be crucial in the upcoming fight.
Yeah, I think OmegaLUL perhaps just hesitating a little too much on that attack. They went for a long rotation to get onto the high ground, but ultimately, your big threats, your Hanzo and your Junkrat, they've both got mobility options available. They can get away from you. I think you just need to pick a target you can get to and rush it down, because as we saw, that before they fully engaged, we did have ultimates coming online, and those ultimates dictated the fight. And because of all the tanks, we are going to see those ultimates online again very soon.
Kazukid gets an early kill on the chest. OmegaLUL should be starting to back up right now. There's no real point in trying to fight this out. But just because of the high spam damage composition that they are running, Drift and Kazukid are almost consistently getting their ultimates up every single fight. At about the same pace, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of tanks to farm ult charge off of, and it's very hard to prevent that from happening. That said, we are having ultimates building on the part of the attackers on OmegaLUL. Here comes a tire.
And that gets a kill onto Taylor. That's a fight win essentially right now. I think OmegaLUL, even though there's only 1 minute 44 seconds left on the clock, they might have to think what they're gonna do. Oh, okay, that was an interesting play coming out right now. I assumed that they were gonna wait up to 6 ultimates to try and go into the next fight. But no, they actually invested the Graviton in that fight with the nano boost. And yeah, Yuri now switching over to Farah might be a bit too late coming into the next fight. Baconman basically has to shatter, but he has to go huge if he wants to help his team win this fight outright. Arrow 404 playing it extremely well though.
Absolutely. I mean, they know their win conditions, they know what they need to do, and they're executing it quite well. Unfortunately, we are seeing OmegaLUL just, I suppose, not quite sure on what to do in order to get through that one. That said, we've had the complete changeover to the Widow and Farah, and as a result, we are seeing that Era 404 are playing much more defensive footing. There's a big shatter. This could be their only chance.
Oh, huge! And on the back of that huge Diva Bomb, that's 3 people on the ground. This is OmegaLUL's only chance to try and win the fight outright. Drag gets killed, and the defense of Era 404, they played it so well. Just so unfortunate that that huge Diva Bomb just came in at the end and got a triple kill, and that puts OmegaLUL up 2-1 in the series.
Yeah, very nicely played there. I think just everyone a little too worried about Bacon Man on the Reinhardt, not worried enough about the bomb flying overhead.
Yeah, very true, and that just shows that everyone on OmegaLUL should be feared to an extent, not just the Reinhardt Earthshadow that could potentially win you, but just a free throw off the Diva Bomb. But now let's move on to the next match, which would be Numbani. So it's gonna be this is a very dive favorite map, so might be in favor a bit of Arrow 404, but as we saw on Gibraltar, OmegaLUL is also pretty decent with their dive, so OmegaLUL might just take the series out right now from under them, or Arrow 404 might just punch back, so we can move on to the next and final map, which it would be Busan if we go that far.
Absolutely, and I think OmegaLUL probably has the advantage coming into this one. Numbani very similar in how it plays out to Gibraltar. If anything, those 3rd-point strongholds are even stronger on Numbani than they were in Gibraltar. So it definitely plays well into what we've seen from OmegaLUL earlier. Era 404 need to come up with something else. They need to find some way to get the continually consistent performance they've been getting out of this Hanzo Junkrat pairing, and making it work. But of course, the moment the hard counters of the heroes are pulled out, they fall into problems. So they need to find a way to allow their DPS players to play to their strengths and keep them protected from answers designed to deal with them specifically. So we'll see if they can come up with anything here as we head over to Numbani. And we will be seeing once again, I believe, OmegaLUL opening up on the attack.
Is Darby? Yeah, okay. I think coming into the Numbani, especially on the attack side, basically maybe you might see Dotes here. Actually, Dotes can be somewhat decent, especially on these sort of dive-centric maps where the spawn disadvantage for the defenders is extremely large, especially even on like first point on Numbani.
Actually, Numbani is a weird exception because the defender spawn is actually closer to the attacker one because of that really long run. It's the only hybrid point where the first point defender spawn is actually the closer one. So
I always felt that was a bit longer. Maybe it was just my general perception, but interesting choice coming out of Yuri right now, going with a Pharah defense, Pharah Genji defense. So it's quite interesting to see. And apparently it seems that Kirei had 200 Overwatch League dollars to spend on that very nice Genji skin. But coming into the next fight, we will see Arrow 404 run a very interesting composition of a dive but with the double Shimada brothers. That's not a composition you actually see, especially with a Hanzo and a Genji. Let's see how well they are going to be able to try and execute this coming up to the first point here.
yeah, I mean, I think the big thing we can take from here is that Chaz has just gone down now early, although trade to kill back onto Drac there. This fight gets underway and KazuKid is just running rampant over this fight, getting those dash resets. They just have absolutely no defense against this Genji, and it is showing. He is under pressure now, but the kills are still overwhelmingly coming through in favor of Era 404 as they clean up this first point.
Yes, and on the back of a very great Genji play just to get continuous dash resets, killing both the Pharah Mercy combo, Arrow 404 will cap the time with over 5 minutes and 30 seconds, which is extremely fast, which is also what we saw in Gibraltar. Now let's see if they can recreate it coming up to Streets phase, which has stumped a lot of teams.
Absolutely, and we have seen Taylor swap over from the Mercy onto the Lucio there, and what it was actually going to sell Chaz down early again. There we go, and Sephu cleaning up, getting the DMX, KazuKid getting the kill onto Katsuri. Drift does go down from the Bacon Man's counter dive, but it's probably too little too late here, as the kill's still coming through, and the attackers will get this cart moving very shortly. They just need to clean up Taylor here on the cart. But what I was going to say originally is that there's just no defense against a Blade when you're running the Ana Mercy. It's a very vulnerable composition. They have swapped over to the Lucio, but KazuKid's got his Blade available. Cherry's got the Nano. They are going to have the Nano Blade available, and Taylor is still 50% away from having that defensive sound barrier. Yui on the Brigida to stun him out is their best and only hope at dealing with this incoming Blade.
Finland got anti, so he has to back
Oh,
up
that's a huge sleep!
Huge sleep! That was a huge sleep after KazuKid went for the Nano Blade. He still has just a Blade actually. He still has a Blade, unfortunately not getting anything out of it. Let's see whether or not he can get out. No, but Drift gets the kill onto Yuri. Here comes another Blind Dragon. Let's see if he's gonna get anything this time around. No, that's not getting anything. Here's a Diva Bomb. Absolutely nothing as well. And this should be in favor of defense to continue to at least try and get a first hold coming in, but no, Bindus gets a counter kill onto the Taylor, but here comes a Nano Blade out of Kirei. He does get a kill onto Drac, gets a kill onto Cherry. That's both supports down onto the side, onto the attackers, gets a kill onto Drift, and yep, the attackers should be starting to back up right now. Hopefully Sephu does not get demeched here.
And big hero play coming out there from Kirei, because it was really just him and his main tank still up in that fight, with, of course, Chaz providing some long-range healing above. He needed to come up big with that Blade, and when he pulled it out, there was not a lot of people near him either, but he knew what he needed to do. He picked his targets very carefully, and he cleaned up both supports, so very well played by him there.
Coming into the next fight, KazuKid gets a kill onto Taylor right now. This is probably a very good chance for the advantages to try and strike back. Yep, Sephu gets a kill onto Baker Man. Two heroes down onto the side. Onto the defender's side, it's basically a 6v4. Yuri gets killed. Here comes a Nano boosted Monkey. A bit wasted considering that they were already 3-man up in that fight. But, you know, just to secure the point is probably a worthwhile investment.
Oh yeah, it'll secure the point and it'll help Bindon get some ult charge going, so it'll get things going for them as they roll this one across here. But again, we're seeing Drift being very uncontested in a lot of these things. We're seeing either Chaz or Taylor dying very early in a lot of these fights, and that is really enabling Error 404 to keep this cart moving. As we move into the third point, we are going to see both teams go over onto the Reinhardt compositions. We are going to be going for these brawls, the Ryan Zaya Brig brawls, but at this stage we haven't gone full goats.
Here comes a Blind Dragon, does zone out some of the members of OmegaLUL, and both sound barriers invested by both teams, but there is a Brigade ultimate that was used by Yuri, just to pop everyone off and give it a lot of armor, but here comes a Farah barrage of rockets, but Chess gets a kill on the Kazuki, Sepho gets a kill on Kasparov, and the attackers off. And the attackers will continue to at least push this. Arrow 404 has a decent chance of trying to cap this with over 3 minutes left on the clock, but Taylor does manage to get back in time to stall. Let's see how long he can stall it for and see whether or not he gets killed. But no, here comes a from the charge shatter. Bindon might die here actually, but no, gets nano boosted. But unfortunately he was anti, so he didn't get the full heal benefit out of it. Bacon Man goes for a shatter, does hit Drift, but unfortunately did not do anything. But no, Bindon does get killed eventually after another Ananate just basically prevented anyone healing. Kiri gets a Deadeye kill onto Kazuki, who actually switched on to the Soldier 76, an interesting pick coming in.
I think it was just a run back quickly. I think given how the fight was going in their favor and they were just trying to get it across the line, I think he did it for the run speed. Maybe he's not so comfortable on the other. Then again, we've seen him on Sombra. Why go Soldier over Sombra if you're running back quickly? Big question there. So, but either way, we do have the defenders manage to successfully repulse here, and they're going to be setting up this defense. OmegaLUL ready to set up for the time. There's the grab being committed. This should be a reasonably... No, it's not happening.
The tables have turned, and they, well, on the side of OmegaLUL, they weren't able to capitalize on that grab from Castaway just because no one was actually there. And the only one there was the Reinhardt just swinging around, and a counter grab with a dragon just cleans out both tanks on the side of OmegaLUL, and they basically capped it from there with a very respectable time. I think just in the high 2 minute. No, yeah, just above 2 minutes. Well,
and you've got to be happy with that, considering how hard it can be to crack through this third point. Error 404 really showing some life here. They've absolutely put it back into OmegaLUL, and. Well, the pressure is going to be on because that is a very good time for Numbani.
Very, very true. And let's see what happened. I would say with OmegaLUL. I think near the end they were generally split up. As you saw, the graph came in from Castle. The only one there was their main tank. He tried swinging into it. Unfortunately, the supports were there just to top them off. And I'm not sure where the DPS were.
Oh, Curie had a line of sight to it. Curie was probably a bit far back and was suffering some severe damage fall off, but he was also trying to shoot through a Rhine shield. They didn't have the tools to quickly clean that one up because they're swapped over to the McCree to try and deal with the Farah, and as a result, they can't really get damage through the Rhine shield quickly or easily.
Very, very true. Now let's see what the defense of Error 404 will be. We can see Kazuki on that Hanzo. Drak is playing the Brigade, so the Brigade is going to be able to protect Cherry on that Ana if he is going to get dive. Drift is also going to be able to pick up any stragglers who cannot get onto the high ground, who are stuck on the ground, and potentially just pick them off early. Kazuki will do Hanzo things and hopefully just pop heads in the meantime.
Interesting that Kazuki and Drift have swapped roles here, but meanwhile from the attackers we are going to be seeing OmegaLUL run out with the Mountain Goats, which has been a very strong pick here on the Bunny A. We'll see if they're able to execute to get through and deal with that Ana, because they are coming for it.
As you can see, Drift basically doing Sombra things, just manages to get the kill onto Chaz right now, but Cassowary does get a huge move onto Sephu, actually pushes him off to the point. It's a 5v5 right now, and it's still very much anyone's game. The Dotes composition, similar to Goats, just has a lot of sustain, so even if they are a man down, if it's not a very key member, they can still try and fight this out. Yuri gets a kill onto Drak, and suddenly the tables have turned, as OmegaLUL might be able to cap this point. Yep, Cassowary gets a kill.
I think they're going to.
Yep, and this It's a very fast first point cap coming out of OmegaLUL after what was a very early pick onto Chaz previously.
Yeah, and just really, really well played. Like, they backed up, they grouped up together, they were able to punish Sefu's play, knock him off there, and then they were able to, just through basically the weight of healing, you know, even though they were missing their Ana, and they're just going to see some very late stagger kills, which is really going to set up the second point. Even though they were down their main healer on the Ana, because the defenders from Era 404 were running the Brigida Ana, they don't have a huge amount of healing themselves, and what they do have is fairly vulnerable. So it was just a matter of playing it safe, playing it carefully, slowly teasing apart the members of Era 404, and the moment that the Ana was available, in went the Bacon Man to get up in her face and make sure that no healing was getting out to the team. So very nicely played there by OmegaLUL, and as a result they're going to get this one through the streets without too much difficulty by the looks of it.
Surprisingly enough, Kasui just threw a blind bomb, manages to get the pick onto Drift, which was a very crucial kill considering that Drift had the actual EMP. Cherry does invest the nano boost. Unfortunately, the Graviton there to answer back, and OmegaLUL is pushing it at a very incredible pace. They are going to cap second point and push into third with over 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, so we do see Kazukid go over to the Pharah here. They need some answers to this heavy tank composition, and Pharah should be able to still provide that. Not quite as strong against the mountain goats as it is the more conventional goats, but still very effective. That said, Bacon Man is going to go back, swap over to the Reinhardt. It's going to become a ground pound game here on the third point.
Yes, let's see how the fight goes in both Reinhardts now. Let's see who has the better play. Binda does have the Earth Shatter though, just because he has been on that Reinhardt a bit longer. And here it happens. No, everyone's actually topped off by the sound barrier. Unfortunately, to happen, and Taylor actually managed to get the kill on the Binda before he actually followed up with the swings. Kyrie gets a kill onto Sefu right now, and this is an extremely great fight coming out of OmegaLUL. They are most likely going to be able to cap this with over 4 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Binda does get the counter kill on the Yui, but no, it's Bacon Man all alone. Binda's all alone, but gets completely destroyed. OmegaLUL caps it with basically 2.5 times faster than.
And you have to feel it for the Binden there at the end, because when you are 1v6ing into a comp like that, you get to play the true, authentic, interactive main tank experience. He got slept, he got knocked back, he's getting thrown around all over the place. He may as well have taken his hands off the keyboard. That's how much input he was allowed to have into that last bit of stalling there.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And now this is an extremely, extremely tall order for Era 404. If you thought Horizon Lunar Colony was a tall order, well, this is basically near insurmountable odds. It's basically OmegaLUL's point to lose with over 4 minutes and 38 seconds compared to Era 404's 1 minute and 57.
Absolutely, and we've seen some really incredible plays here so far from OmegaLUL. They've got the advantage here. It's going to be a lot of pressure here on Era 404. They need to make something happen here, and it's not going to be easy, because they've been, ever since that first map in Nepal, they've been on the back foot against OmegaLUL, and it's really starting to show. Will they be able to turn this one around? Who knows?
Here comes the fight in right now. They are running Kazukid on the Soldier 76. An interesting pick. Soldier has not been seen in the meta for an extremely long time. Let's see if he is able to make it work. Let's see how good his Defran plays are going to be in this fight.
Absolutely, and he has actually gone on a bit of a solo mission around, firing up from the low ground, but he gets the early kill onto Taylor. That is going to be key in this first fight.
That's a very crucial pick right now, and hopefully Arrow 4 does capitalize on and start pushing in quickly. Kazukid does get jumped by the Bacon Man, but unfortunately Soldier is going to be able to run away. Now let's see who gets picked off next. Is it going to be someone on Arrow 4 or OmegaLUL? But it seems that Arrow 4 has wasted too much time, and Taylor has managed to come back into the fight. Bacon Man gets a counter kill onto Drake, Kiri gets killed onto Bindon, Yuri gets killed onto Drift, and basically after a very early pick from Kazukid, unfortunately they were not able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and so as a result, we are going to see a lot of ultimate charge for the defenders here. They're going to have a lot of tools available for this first defense as they continue to play on these mountain goats. And unfortunately, this is going to be the last fight as well. Kazukid is going to have the tac visor up reasonably soon. He's probably going to be the first one on the team to get that one up. But when you're firing into 3 tanks and 3 supports, it's going to be hard to get a lot of value from that tac visor as well.
Yes, and so you can see Bakerman has decided to jump in. He's getting nano boosted. He's funneling everyone else back into the small corner right there. He is going to get the kill onto Cherry. Let's see if he gets anything else. He gets a Primal Rage. This is a very bad position if you... This is a very bad position if you see a monkey inside, as he's just gonna push you around. He gets a kill onto Binden, but no, Drift gets the counter kill onto the Bacon Man. It's 4 people left on the side of Arrow 404 who are gonna try and touch the point. Here comes the tactical visor right now. It's gonna have to be huge. Is it gonna get anything? No, gets completely zoned out by the Diva Bomb. But here comes a counter Graviton Surge right now. Is he gonna get anything? No, Yui just basically popping off, gets a kill on the Drag, gets a kill on the Seppu. Taylor gets a counter kill onto Kazukid, and this game is done and dusted. OmegaLUL will hold without giving a single tick over to Era 404.
Absolutely, and well, we've got a desperate last Primal Rage here on the point, but it's going to be too little too late. It's just going to be now all on OmegaLUL to get 1 tick of this first point with over 4 minutes on the clock. That is going to be a very difficult hold here from Era 404. This is not an enviable position to be in, that's for sure. They're going to need to bring out something super special if they want to lock down this first point of Numbani.
I mean, at this point, OmegaLUL could basically go for 2 pushes with 6 ultimates. They could just basically waste that much time to try and get a single cap onto the first point of Numbani. On the side of Arrow 404, what do you think is their best option? Is it going to be copying OmegaLUL and trying to play that Dotes composition that they were running as well? Or is it going to be something else?
I think they need to do something else. I think that when it comes to these 2 teams, OmegaLUL has asserted its dominance as being the better team at running these goat-based compositions. So I think we need to see something else out of Era 404 that we haven't seen from them yet. You need to catch them by surprise. You need to win the first fight. You need to get ultimate advantage, and then you need to hold on to that ultimate advantage. And that's a tall ask. So we are going to be seeing, okay, interesting composition here with the Genji Doomfist, but running Moira with it is something that there's a lot of things going on here in this defense that I'm not a big fan of. The Zarya, Winston, they don't have a sound barrier or a trance. There's a lot of holes there. We'll see if they get punished for it.
Kazukid almost got anti and almost taken out immediately before the fight even started, but manages to get back to the Mercy to at least get topped up right now. Basically everyone is poking, but any single mistake onto the side, just like that, Yui got picked out essentially, and this should spell the end for Arrow 404. Kazukid actually gets a counter kill onto Taylor, and surprisingly enough, they are pulling it back into this first fight. They managed to get the kill D-Mac onto Cassowary. They're basically going to try and stall him out for as long as they can. Nope, decides to kill him now. But with over 3 minutes and 50 seconds, this is still very in favor.
Absolutely, there's still a big hill to climb. And as mentioned, as much as they have the Valkyrie online here, they don't have the big defensive ultimate. They're going to have a Valkyrie and Genji Blade available for the next fight. They can potentially win the next fight just off the back of Kazukid's Blade, and indeed that's what they'd want to do if they want to keep this one going. But it's a lot of pressure on people to play this one flawlessly.
Yeah, they're basically gonna have to try and bet on Chaz to get a huge sleep nade onto the Elton Genji, but no, Yui gets a kill onto Drift, gets the parting kill, and this should be another fight, 1 for OmegaLUL, as they currently told it. But no, Drift does get healed back up, and here comes the Dragon Blade. As you said previously, it's gonna have to be big if he wants to hold the point, but no, Drift is the one actually going huge, getting punched onto Chaz, getting the uppercut onto Kirei. Kazuki just basically cleaned up Taylor. Bakerman fell off the point. Yui got killed, and Arrow 404 doing extremely well.
Yeah, so that's their next win. They now their next rotation up. They've got Grav. They've got Doomfist's Seismic Slam. So you've got the Space Jam there that can win you your next fight and start to put a lot of pressure on the attackers here. But they need to hit the targets with that. good use of Matrix by Cassowary there could turn this whole next fight apart.
Yeah, moving on to the next fight right now. Bakerman going in. Here comes a Graviton, only gets Kirei. He is most likely gonna get killed, but Yui gets a very crucial kill onto Kirei right now. Without the Mercy, you don't lose a lot of healing. Cassowary gets the kill onto Binder, but Drift is going huge once again on that Doomfist. He's basically punching everybody into the point. Yui does invest the Pharah ultimate, but Drift manages to shut it down and get another kill onto Taylor. This is another great hole coming in from Arrow 404, who's basically burned I think about 3-4 minutes off the clock right now.
Absolutely, and that was so clutch plays by Drift there. He absolutely kept that one alive for his team when things were looking very dicey there. That said, we have not a lot of tools in the bank for them. This next fight, very much in favor of the attackers. They're going to need to do something big here, and I don't know what they've got, other than another great play by Drift. And there it is as he takes down Chaz. They may just be able to hold this fight. They're looking really good here.
Chaz did invest the nano boost, I think, but I think he was completely stopped out before when Drift punched him into the corner. Bakerman invests the Primal Rage, and Drift is going for another Meteor Strike. Basically, the entire team of OmegaLUL is just going for another reset, and basically they only have 58 seconds left on the clock. This is basically coming down to just a single fight after
This is the danger fight, though. This is... once again, we have Kazoo Kid has the Blade online. Binden's got his Primal Rage. The defenders are looking really good here, and we are going to see a complete swap over to a standard Goats composition here, rather an Anna Goats composition on the part of OmegaLUL, because this is their last fight. The defenders, amazing work here, and they've got the Blade online as well to potentially win this one out.
Drift is being sneaky on that corner right now. Is he gonna get another punch? No, basically misses, but Kazoo Kid makes up for it with a kill onto Chaz. Binder gets a Power Rage kill onto Carry. Carry gets completely destroyed. Kazoo Kid gets another kill onto Taylor. This fight has gone so wrong for OmegaLUL after what was basically a close to 5-minute time bank, and Arrow 404 has basically done what is considered nearly impossible and basically drawn Nombani off of that.
Absolutely, and what an incredible effort from them. They've played a wonderful game there. Unfortunately, after all of that, they only come away with a draw, which is the big tragedy, but just incredible work from them to turn that into a draw, because just absolutely incredible. They needed to play that one flawlessly, and they did. And I think that may mean that we go over to a tiebreaker in Lijiang.
Actually, no, it's Omega.
Because the map was a draw, I think AOL
so
rules mean that we actually go to Numbani for a tiebreaker, although I think there's some...
Don't we just go over to, well, do we not just go over to Busan and see who basically wins the next one? So it's either a 3-1 or a 2-2 draw?
I think my understanding of the rules was that any given map has a tiebreaker run on it, but I think the players are currently trying to determine the rules or clarify the rules as we speak for how we go from here.
Yep. So we are now moving into the draw map to see who technically wins the Numbani map. To place who wins. If Arrow 404 wins this outright, they will basically be moving on to the final map, which is Busan. I think Arrow 404 maybe has a very decent chance coming into Lijiang Tower if they can recreate their performance on Nepal, which they seem to be able to do, especially on these sort of control point maps. They might be able to push this to a possible win, considering the next map is also Busan.
Absolutely, this could very much go down to the wire, but it's Error 404's to lose. They need to keep up the momentum that they have coming out of Numbani here, and then to get this Numbani map win. Because if they don't get the win here, then it's all over, and we end with OmegaLUL, despite that, finishing it with a 3-1 win.
But as I say that, basically we are moving on to the point where Goat's composition has basically been king for a very long time, even with the Pharah to just try and push them off to the point. So OmegaLUL, they might be able to win this outright if they just stick to that tried and true Goat's composition, play it smart. They can basically take this and win the series 3-1.
Yeah, we could. I mean, it could go either way. I mean, we've got Drift on the Hanzo again, and he has been just so devastating on the Hanzo. We may see him go over to the Doomfist, which again we've seen him absolutely popping off on here. So I don't know. I mean, Gardens is not as cut and dry as say Control Center is for Goats. So there's definitely still options available here for Era 404, and we'll see if they're able to capitalize here, because we will, of course, be seeing OmegaLUL running their Ana Goats once again.
Yep, they are going to try and rotate through left side, basically bypass the area where Pharah can potentially boop you off, and basically both teams are going to try and face each other right now. Basically, Goat's composition are going to set up onto the point right now, and they are not going to attack until the point basically unlocks in about 7 seconds. So right now they're just basically trying to poke and see who can get as much charge as they can for their Zarya and try to go through the poke. So
well, the thing is, in these poke battles, you absolutely have to give it to the Hanzo and the Pharah. They are going to get a lot more done than a right-clicking Zarya.
Now, fight's underway right now, and Kazukit already has 76%. He's basically almost has a Pharah ultimate, but look, but Drift already has the Dragon Blade and gets an early kill onto Taylor, but Bakerman gets nano boosted and is basically fighting Binden right now. Binden close to dying right now, but Kazukit with that Pharah barrage gets a kill onto Kiri, a very crucial kill right now.
But the point gets capped.
But the point gets capped in favor of the Ghost composition just because they are able to stay on it right now. But Era 404 has a very good chance to quickly just kill the remaining members of OmegaLUL to try and cap the point. But no, it seems that the reinforcements on the side of OmegaLUL have come in, so they are very much stuck to this point like glue. Here comes another Dragon Strike into the heart of OmegaLUL, but no, it just basically found them all to the right side. But no, there's a sound barrier to keep everyone alive. Binden gets a kill on the Kirei. This is a very good chance for them to push in right now. Drift gets kill on Bakerman, and yes, Era 404 does fire back and will cap this point most likely as the point ticks up to about 45%.
Yeah, we are going to see that one finally go over there. The ultimates have been thrown into the fights very early by Era 404, but when you're playing against Goats, you can absolutely afford to do that. We already have Tsuki coming up to another barrage. Drift Hanzo again coming up to another Dragon Strike, which would be his fourth, I believe. No, third. I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. That said, we do have Kirei with the grab available in the next fight for the part of OmegaLUL, and that could very easily end it.
Early ultimate onto Bakerman, but Binden manages to actually shatter him before anything happens, and Drift, as you said before, has basically popped off and killed two of the members of OmegaLUL. They are going to retreat right now as the point ticks up to 40%. Basically, right now, Era 404 is going to be looking at, even if they lose the next fight, they are looking at most likely at about a 60 to 70% hold coming in.
And so we are going to be seeing some changes here from OmegaLUL. They're a little tired of just taking free fire from these long-range heroes. So Kirei's gone over to the Hanzo, Yui's gone over to the McCree. Let's see if that's enough. Sefu does have the grab available for this next fight, so absolutely a huge advantage for the defenders here.
Huge shatter coming out of the Bakerman, getting 2-3 people, and Yuri gets a kill on the Binder, but Drift gets a counter kill on the chest. 1v1 trade right now, and Sefu gets a kill on Bakerman, Drift gets a kill onto Yui, and as you see, Era 404 bringing it back from the brink, and basically now pushing into the 80% mark. This is probably going to be the last fight for OmegaLUL if they want to try and keep their dreams, to just try and outright win this map 3-1.
Absolutely, and it really is hard to play into that grab if you don't manage to catch it with the Matrix, if you don't have a powerful support ult available, so it's not too unusual. Another Dragon Strike coming through is going to zone Taylor out of this fight as things get underway.
Bakerman basically jumping in, gets a kill on the Binder, but Kazuki gets the kill onto Yuri. It's going to be on Bakerman to see how much more value he can get out of it. Does get the kill onto Sefu, fortunately enough. but it's still anyone's fight. But no, OmegaLUL does manage to cap the point and win the fight outright at about the 45%.
Yeah, big plays there from Baker Man, getting a lot done on that Winston, just getting in people's faces and absolutely zapping them off with the Tesla cannon, creating a lot of space for the team. We are going to have Yui going over to the Doomfist, so they're going to be looking to hold it here, probably a emergency swap to get back quickly after dying on the McCree. But yeah, we're going to see the Rhine stack making its way through. Binden does have the Earth Shatter up on this fight, and without an enemy Reinhardt to block it, it's almost free, so they could very easily flip this point back and win it off this.
Kazukin also being very close to his to his Farah Barrage, but as you saw right there, you said free shatter for days. Binden managed to get 2 people, and which were Taylor and Yui, and subsequently they got destroyed. Basically right now, this is in favor of Arrow 4-4. Yep, they will win this map outright, and they basically win this. And now Baker Man's going to be able to jump on point. Yes, he is going to be able to jump on point. Here comes a Farah Barrage just trying to stall and get anyone who is coming back in. Both the tanks of OmegaLUL are basically the only ones left on the point. Kirei has switched over to the Tracer, just trying to jump over the pit and basically get onto the point to try and stall us out. Chest unfortunately gets moved into the pit, I believe, or fell in and got killed. And with that, Arrow 4-4 takes the first map in this tiebreaker map.
Absolutely, and yeah, just very well played there by them. I mean, the OmegaLUL did rotate back, expecting that shatter. Unfortunately, the Lucio does still get caught out though, and as a result, yeah, it's just kind of a free fight win. Such is the nature of a free shatter. But we will be avoiding Control Center at least for now as we make our way over to Night Market.
I think if you're OmegaLUL, you're a bit disappointed if it's not especially not Control Center, but let's see how they fare in this one. They are running Kirei on that Widowmaker right now, just see whether or not he can pop off and give his best Carpe impression against Boston Uprising. Both teams generally taking different routes on the rotation right now, as OmegaLUL decides to go through the front gates, whereas Arrow goes through the back door. Both teams are fighting on the point right now, but I think, oh, that was a huge anti-nade, and Binden got absolutely destroyed. Kirei gets killed on drag, and OmegaLUL, similar to the first map we saw on the Yantaro, will take first cap.
I was wondering how this composition with the 3-2-1 that OmegaLUL pulled out was going to go here on this map, but it's executed well. I was very worried in the early stages of the fight, but they pulled it together really well, and they've set themselves up into a great position with this early hold. Kazoo actually going over onto the Reaper, interestingly, to try and deal with this 3-2-1 pseudo Mountain Goats.
Yes, right now Kirei is basically going to be completely uncontested for the rest of this fight, and he's just basically going to get free shots right now whenever Binden actually drops the shield, or just aid in the actual shield destruction. As you can see, the Ana just threw a very massive grenade into that when the shield was low, gets 2-3 people, that basically makes them have to rotate or push through a different corridor. Kasuri gets a kill onto Kazoo. Arrow 4-4 basically has to reset at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're really relying on Drift to shut down Kirei's Widowmaker, but as we've just seen, that's a hard matchup. Widowmaker generally considered to have the advantage in those sniper duels, hit scan being a little more reliable than projectile, and as a result we are going to see the clock get above 60% as we continue to have a hold here and a lot of ultimates available for the defenders of OmegaLUL. Bit of a tricky spot to be in if you're Arrow 404.
Here comes the Graviton out, and basically everyone's fighting on the point, but it seems that it is currently in favor of Arrow 404 to win this match right out and cap the point. Kazuki is just going to teleport onto the point, start the cap, while the rest of the team deals with the Bacon Man and get him. But no, Kirei actually uncontested gets a kill onto Drac, but Drift manages to get the counter kill onto that sniper, and the cap comes in at 91%. Even in this context, I'm quite sure OmegaLUL is extremely happy that they managed to put it up to 91%.
Yeah, I mean
the
they did use all of their ultimates that fight to lose the point though, so you can't be too happy about it. Binden's still got a Shatter available. Drift's got another Dragon Strike already. He just used it last fight, so they're going to struggle to get this one back super quickly. That one gets eaten.
Wow, Kasuri actually managed to eat the Dragon Strike at that time around. And Kazuki does have his ultimate here. Oh, Binden tried to go for the cheeky shadow. Unfortunately, he was anti and could not get healed. Kazuki gets completely destroyed. Kasuri managed to find him outright. And unfortunately, this time around, OmegaLUL does have the advantage. But I'm quite sure that
they got off the point.
They got the point.
Oh, there he goes.
The cap does come in eventually. I doubt anyone from Arrow 404 is going to be able to make it back in time before the cap reaches 100. Nope. And the series is tied up 1-1.
Yeah, so this is where you get very nervous if you're Arrow 404 because you're going to Control Center and you know it. And they probably going to be, or at least I would hope that they're going to be wanting to run something other than Goats here, and look at running something with a Doomfist, maybe Doomfist Junkrat, because you got to know that Goats is coming out from OmegaLUL. And it's just how you deal with it, because you haven't been winning these Goats v Goats battles.
Very true, but as you saw on Horizon Lunar Colony, the defense of Arrow 404 was completely hinged on Drift, on that Hanzo, and Kazuki on that Junkrat, and let's see whether or not it will pay dividends this time around. But it seems that on the side of OmegaLUL, they are running a Ghost Comp, but they are also running that maybe just basically keep the tank from poking out. Let's see whether or not Arrow 404 is going to be able to notice that. Nope. Kirei does botch the wall. Unfortunately, now the entire team of Arrow 404 knows that there is a Mei. The fight goes onto the point, and Bakerman got a bit too aggressive. Binden does punish him right now, and on the side of OmegaLUL, they're basically going to have to retreat back to spawn. Most likely, Kirei might switch off the Mei outright right now. Coming into the next fight right now, we can see that Binden very much in control of this fight. His shield is a bit down, a bit low, but it seems that everything is going. Oh, hello.
Oh, I have accidentally muted myself. My apologies.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened right there, but Binden, a huge counter shadow coming out of the Bakerman, getting 3-4 people. Here comes a Junkrat Tire, does get the kill on the Kirei, but Bakerman on the backside gets a triple kill, killing Cherry Drift and Kazuki. Binden gets to stop his reign of terror, but I think it's still very much in favor of Arrow 442. Yep.
That's a big shadow to try and save this fight.
Yep, there's a huge shadow to save this fight, and Arrow 404 off that will continue to hold the point.
That said, we do have the members of OmegaLUL grouping up here. They should be able to push in before the area is fully reinforced, if they decide to get aggressive. But, without their Ana with them, they may not want to do that. So, wisely biding their time, waiting for their main healer to be back, and then we'll see the next fight breaking out here now.
Next fight coming up to about 60%. Right now, this fight will most likely, even if OmegaLUL caps this fight, they are going to 75%. Bakerman and Tide right now cannot get healed. Here comes the Diva Bomb. Isn't going to get anything. Does get the kill on the Drake, but a huge Dragon coming out of Drift gets 3 people, and this fight is basically done, and thus in favor of Arrow 404. We are moving on to potentially the final fight coming onto the Junk Tower.
Absolutely, and that Grav Dragon's so hard to deal with if you don't have the defensive ult available, so perhaps not too surprising, but Taylor's Grav is available, and there's no tools available to defend from it, so this could be their chance to flip the point here. Here it comes.
Here comes the ultimate right now. Does get 2 people into it. Binden and Shrek got completely destroyed. I'm quite sure if you are Arrow 404, you're basically just trying to get as many ultimates out on the side of OmegaLUL so you can try and charge your own. Drift, as you can see, basically has another Dragon coming up. Kazuki already has the Junkrat Tire, and now is a very good
that one gets eaten.
But Kazuri actually eats the dragon once again, and Yuri gets a kill on the Sefu. Basically, now another 10 seconds bought off on the clock right now in favor of OmegaLUL.
Yeah, I think you commit the tie here as a distraction so you can start pushing through. Well, Kazuki's actually going off on a flank.
Mega Man got read out on that Shatter and didn't manage to block it. Here comes the... No, Cassowary actually managed to find Kazukid's body before the Juggertide is able to do any work. I think the Juggertide may have gotten cancelled actually, but here comes an Earth Shatter. Nope, gets completely shut down. Here comes a Nano Boosted Doomfist. This is an extremely dangerous person. Yep, Bindon gets completely and early destroyed because of Doomfist. Kazuki does get the kill on the Kiri gets a kill on the Drek, but this is still in favor of OmegaLUL to continue his hold. But no, Drift does invest the actual...
Respawns are coming through in favor of Error 404. They're going to push this one through, and there's the grab. That will end the fight here. Error 404 coming back in a big way. That Diva Bomb is not going to do anything to prevent it. They're going to get this point here. Oh, very nicely played there by Bindon to slam Kiri into the wall after that Meteor Strike just to get onto the point, and it is just clean up here. But I think Error 404 should have this one in the bag and get their well-earned Numbani map victory.
Yep, here comes Kiri Sefu. He's basically nano boosted on that. Nano boosted right now. He's basically killing everything. Cassowary, the only one left on the point to try and stall with that Hammond. Unfortunately, he's going to get completely destroyed. And there you have it, folks. Error 404 will take this win and make it tie it up 2-2 in the series, moving on to final map.
And never has anyone ever worked so hard for a Numbani map win than that one. From the epic 4.5 minute hold to going all the way to the third point of Lijiang Tower in a tiebreaker. Certainly they worked very hard and well deserved to get that Numbani map win there. As we move on to our fifth map now, our final tiebreaker of Busan, to determine the outcome of this series. That's right, for those at home struggling to follow, that Nepal map was just to determine who won Numbani. As a result, we will now be moving over to Busan, our final map, with the score being 2-2.
If control is anything to go by, Error 404 is slightly favored in this matchup against OmegaLUL, even though Busan has been known to be an extremely heavy GOATS map. So it is very much a coin flip to see who can potentially take out this win in the 3-2 series.
Absolutely, this is anyone's game now. Error 404 are riding a wave of momentum. They've been good in control. They've won both the control maps so far in the series. And this is absolutely their chance to push it all the way through. But it looks like we will be having a quick break for the teams before we move into this final map. Understandably, they have all been playing for almost 2 hours now, so we can hardly fault them for a short break before moving on to our big concluding map.
Yes, I think in the meantime, let's talk about what both teams can do to secure their final victory and take the 3-2. I think for OmegaLUL to take the series right now, they're gonna have to shut down Drift. As you saw continuously, Drift has been getting those Dragon Strikes consistently almost every fight. Almost every 2 fights, he already has another Dragon Strike ready to go, and as you can see in the number of highlights, he's been popping off consistently on that Hanzo, and OmegaLUL hasn't really shut him down.
Absolutely. I think when they've been able to play the game they want to play, Error 404 has been almost untouchable. I think we need to see something other than GOATs potentially out of OmegaLUL if they are struggling to get through to Drift's Hanzo. It really does come down to making the other team play your game. Whenever OmegaLUL are able to force Error 404 to try and mirror match these GOATs compositions, they've been coming out on top. However, whenever Error 404 has been managing to hold off the GOATs, has been forcing OmegaLUL to swap off onto something else, on the flip side, they've been winning those ones because just OmegaLUL have not been able to get proper engagements onto those DPS members such as Drift and Gazoo So it really comes down to forcing the other team to play your game instead of you playing theirs. And how you do that as OmegaLUL, I don't know, because I think you just have to... I think you potentially, if you just want to goats into them, you just need to commit. You need to pick your target, and you need to commit to it. There's been a few times where they've been a bit slow, and a bit slow to commit, a bit slow to find a target, and that's allowed those DPS to build their ultimates, farm them off the tanks. I think you just need to go in aggressive and go balls deep if you want to run goats, and absolutely take the fight to Error 404. And that's where you start putting Error 404 into the position where they need to swap up. I think if you're Era 404, you just keep doing what you've been doing the last 2 maps, because that's what you need to do to shut down this Goats heavy lineup.
Very, very true. And coming into Busan, I think that coming into Busan, all 3 maps are extremely Goat's favorite maps coming into it. So OmegaLUL does have a very good chance in terms of the composition, in terms of composition play, but 1-to-1 if both teams are playing Goats. But on the side of Arrow 404, there are a lot of these points as well that do provide a sort of a pseudo high ground, especially I think the one on the ship as well. There's generally a lot of high grounds where you can still put Drift up on that Hanzo to potentially just stop and get those early picks, then throw another Dragon Strike in as he has always done, or maybe even just run a Doom Fist to try and Rising Uppercut people. But enough about that, let's move on to Busan, and our first map is going to be exactly the one that I was previously just talking about.
Yep, so here we are in the mech hangar, and yes, as we all know, we've got the high ground, low ground point. That said, the ground, at least up here, is where a lot of teams will come out ready for that first brawl. So there's not really anywhere higher for the Hanzo to go. And it does look like we will be seeing the Hanzo from Drift here again. At least I'd certainly hope so, because they've definitely been getting their best performances when they've allowed Drift and Kazoo Kid to play this Hanzo Junkrat composition. So it's going to be a lot of There's going to be a lot into this first fight, and basically, as mentioned before, OmegaLUL just need to commit to the fight early. They need to go in early, charge into a target, kill it, and continue through. If they allow a poke battle to break out, it's not going to end well for them.
Both teams are running their tried and true compositions that have worked against each other throughout this entire series. Now let's see whether or not this Ghost composition can be extremely, or at least a lot more aggressive to try and shut down Drift and Kazukin from charging their ultimates extremely quickly. Fight is underway right now, and Arrow 404 has started rotating to the point, giving up space for the Ghost composition to just try and set up. But no, they actually decide to rotate through to the high ground right above points, whereas the Ghost composition are just going on point as the point unlocks right now. Most likely they are going to give them the cap. Yes, they actually gave OmegaLUL the cap. I think a bit of a miscommunication in terms of the speed to which they try to get onto the point, but Bakerman currently sleeping on the job. The fight is still underway. Drift and Kazukin not very close to the ultimates right now, but Bakerman gets an early kill on the Drak. This Ghost composition should be able to take the fight out right now. And yes, they do. Kasuri gets a kill on the Bindon. It's basically a matter of time to just clean up the rest of the players on Arrow 404.
Yeah, I think at this point you need to be jumping off the map. You got to get the quick reset here, and the longer this drags on, the worse it's going to be for you. So we do finally have that one over. The members of Arrow 404 going back, and I think we definitely saw a bit more aggression from OmegaLUL there, which is what they needed. And they chased Arrow 404 back. They took the ground. They took the point. That said, we do have ultimates online for this next fight still.
Is Kasuri going to be able to catch Kazuki out right now? Bakerman does get the huge. Bakerman actually gets a double shatter onto the team, but no, Drift manages to counter back with a double kill with that Dragon Strike. With the Dragon Strike and Graph combo, and they will flip the point, but at 57%, which is a bit higher than we want to give in the first fight.
Absolutely, but very good heads-up play there from Sefu. Like, big shatter comes down, and that Graviton not only saves his team, but sets up the fight win. So, massive play from Sefu, spinning that one around. And but as a result, because it was a desperate counterplay, they don't have a lot of ultimates available. Binder needs to get good value from this shatter, and he does!
That's a huge shatter, and fortunately enough, they managed to get the only kill on the Taylor. Binder right now close to death, but Cherry gets a kill on Bakerman, Sefu gets the D-Mech, but no! Suddenly everything went wrong. Kirei, Chess, and Yuri basically popped off and killed 3 members on the side of Arrow 404 as the point cap moves on to 45%. They will be able to cap it at just under 50%. But on the side of Arrow 404, I think you're not too bad. You basically draw out quite a lot of ultimates on this side of OmegaLUL.
Absolutely.
You yourself still have like 4 ultimates coming back up right now, especially that Graviton Dragon combo.
Yeah, but that said, you need to win the next fight with it. You need to make sure that Defense Matrix doesn't eat the Grav.
Ooh. That's a huge grab. There's the Dragon coming in. No,
the dragon gets eaten once again. Cassowary
doing God's work right now and eating the dragon, but unfortunately it wasn't enough as Drift decided, well, if you eat my dragon, I can still storm arrow you to death, and he has subsequently done so, and they will cap the point, pushing up to 95%.
That said, I still think big play from Cassowary, because that did mean that Kazukid felt the need to commit the tire to finish up the fight, rather than using the tire to win the next fight. So it is still setting them up, making this next retake easier. Bindon has the shatter, so they're still looking at that to get around. But there it is again, a huge shatter at that door once again.
Another huge shatter. Kazukid basically mops up the members of OmegaLUL. They're gonna have to stall Cassowary out right now if they want to try and push this into one more fight, and they are subsequently doing so. Cassowary gonna get killed out right now. Basically ran into the Junkrat trap just to kill himself, and we are going to move into the last fight territory. On the side of OmegaLUL, you have 3 ultimates up right now with the Graviton and the Hammer following suit. They will have it in the mid of the next fight, but on the side of Era 404, they are also extremely close to that dragon combo once again, so it is still basically anyone's fight.
Yeah, I think in the end you have to give a slight advantage to Era 404, but it comes down to if they can get value from the tire now, because these early ultimates are going very much in the favor of OmegaLUL. Here comes the tire, it's going to need to be huge, it gets nothing. This is looking very good for OmegaLUL.
That was an extremely great play coming out of Yui. Yui actually shield bashed a Drac right before the sound barrier actually came down, basically nullifying the entire ultimate and basically securing that fight for his team. That was an actually amazing play. And OmegaLUL basically coming up 1-up in the series. They basically have to win the next map, and they will win the series 3-2.
You've got to be feeling the pressure, but then again, you've been riding this pressure for a long time if you're Era 404. It's been match point against them time and time again, so we've seen them come up clutch before. That said, this is probably the least friendliest stage of Busan for them. So we'll see if they're able to make something happen here. It's looking like we're going to be seeing the the mountain goats out of OmegaLUL. And they're actually going to be running Kazukid on the Pharah here. That's definitely an interesting choices. We'll see how this one unfolds.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next fight. Right now, and you can see the Mountain Goats basically going in extremely aggressive, but a lot of their members are actually anti. Cassowary does get demech, so this is actually a heavy in favor of Era 404 to potentially get the first cap on this point, especially when Kazukid can just fire basically uncontested, and due to the fact there is no demon to stop it. As you can see, Kazukid gets a kill on the Bacon Man, Drift gets a kill on the Chaz, Kazukid just basically cleans up the rest of the team due to the fact they can't take it, and Era 404 will be able to take first point. Cassowary is actually sleeping on the ground right now. He's gonna get stalled out extremely long. Actually, no. They actually decide to kill him outright after the point capped.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of getting that headshot damage on the Drift, so he's got dragons available. And we'll likely see those dragons being committed as OmegaLUL attempts to make their way towards the point, as he's very much been in favor of firing them off very early.
Basically, on the side of OmegaLUL, they have decided to switch off the Mountain Goats and running a double hit scan with the Widowmaker and the McCree right now. They just kind of countered the Pharah outright. If Yuri gets the kill on the Bindon, Drift gets a counter kill onto Yuri, but the nano boosted Zephyr right now does a lot of damage. In fact, he is on high charge. Drift gets another kill on the Chaz. It forces Bacon Man to enter Primal Rage to try and stall it out right now, but Kazukid is still very much uncontested. Everyone's in the Graviton, and he's just gonna launch rockets into it. Era 404 will continue to hold the point as it pushed up to 51%.
Yeah, very expensive fight there for Era 404, but given the composition changes we keep seeing out of OmegaLUL, ultimately doesn't matter. If the fight's expensive but your opponent swaps their comp, it actually was, it's fine. You're still up. So as a result, we do have both the Dragon Strike and the Barrage available along with a Shatter in this next fight. A lot of very dangerous things to worry about as they try to push on to this point.
Very, very true. Bindon most likely going to go for a Shadow follow up by the Pharah ultimate right now, or Drift might just outright use his Dragon Strike and just do a point blank shot. He seems to be able to hit Chaz a lot of the time. Hopefully it's homed into it one more time. Yuri goes for Yui actually went for a high noon and got nano boosted to just stop him from dying from Kazukid's Pharaoh Barrage, but Sefu gets a counter kill, but no, Drift gets a kill onto Kirei, and this fight has gone into 99%. It's still very much in favor of Arrow 404 to actually hold it right now. I think there's only 2 people left on the clock. Well, yes, there's only 2 people left. Cassowary gets completely anti, and Chaz is the only one left. And Arrow 404 ties the series up 1-1. This is as close as you can get.
Oh, this is a nail biter. This has gone. Once again, we are going all the way to the golden point. We're going all the way to Arrow 404, and they are showing us why they are the better control team here as we make our way to Busan City. Wow, and absolutely this plays into their strengths. You can expect to see more Hanzo here. It looks like Kazukid is liking the Genji. Meanwhile, on the part of Omega 404, they're anticipating the Pharah. They're expecting her to be back. They're still running this double hit scan. No, we do see some changes. No, they're going over...
Well, triple support. Triple support.
Yeah, triple support. They're going for a 3-2-1. They're keeping Kirei on the Widowmaker. They are worried about that Pharah being back. But she is not here this time, so let's see if things get changed up. Oh, that early kill.
Kirei gets an early kill on the drag. This composition is the exactly same one that basically won them their map on Lijiang Tower, so it is tried and true even against compositions that do not run the Pharah. So a very early kill, right? Very early pick off with the Kirei on that Widowmaker. They won't really anticipate that, I believe. So now they will get first cap moving on. And Kazukid has decided to switch off onto the Doomfist, surprisingly, from the Genji that he was playing, most likely just to cover more ground and try to punch people, especially when they are onto the point. Binden 64% to his Shatter, basically the fastest charging ultimate currently in the game.
Absolutely. It's yeah, you're gonna see them be taking this fight down by the railway tracks, trying to deny those sightlines to Kirei as the fight unfolds. And because Binden's got that Reinhardt, it is a lot harder for the members of OmegaLUL to be able to stand up to that first line pressure. That said, Drak getting taken down by the Bacon Man. Bacon Man does get taken out in turn by Kazukid, who in turn gets taken out by Cassowary. So still anyone's game as Yui comes forward aggressively, does help take down Seru, and it looks like the defenders here may be able to hold that one. Very late Shatter being pulled out by Binden. Perhaps he wishes he had that one back.
Yes, that was a bit of a miscommunication on that Shatter, and it might have just cost him the game, to be honest. We're moving up to 53-54%. With Bacon Man basically having the Primal Rage, he's going to be able to stall this to perhaps even a 99 or outright just win the fight with it if he can push people into the train track. So we are moving into deep waters right now. Drift has decided to switch off the Hanzo and try to contest Kirei on that Widowmaker. So it is going to be crucial to see who comes out on this Widowmaker 1v1 potentially. Now we move on to the fight, onto the point right now, aside from the Widowmaker fights. You can see Yui has decided to pop the Brigade ultimate and keep everyone, but Drift gets a kill onto Kim.
Oh, and the follow-up on the Chaz, that's huge.
Those are two extremely large picks. They need to make it, but they're gonna have to cap the point quickly before it reaches 99%. Or OmegaLUL has an extremely favorite, extremely favored to outright just charge 6 ultimates and outright just win the map off that.
I think there's no way around that one. I think at this point they would not have been able to get that any faster than what they did. So at 96%, you're feeling pretty safe on OmegaLUL despite losing the point. Because all you need to do is win one more team fight, and you have won this map and won this series. And as a result, they will take, they've got all the time in the world and they know it. They will just wait out these Widow sites. And
Arrow 404 has no choice but to make literally no errors this time around. If not, their hopes in this series are going to...
Oh, that's a huge
shot! Coming out a bit that he pushes the Bucky into the pit. But unfortunately, the Bucky can jump up. Yui gonna get completely destroyed. And that is an extremely cheap team fight. One for the side of Arrow 404, which they need. And the clock is basically ticking up to about 50%. They are outside of OmegaLUL in basically similar territory. If the next fight is not extremely quick, this might be the last fight coming in.
Absolutely, and you said before, like Error 404 cannot afford to make a single mistake, but we've seen that before from them. We've seen them keep it up for almost 5 minutes. So can they do this? Absolutely, and Drift getting that early kill on the Kure is definitely going to give them an edge in this next fight.
OmegaLUL has to make a quick reset right here, right now, or they are basically a man down and they will outright get killed, I believe, unless they get an early kill. No, Kazukin a bit too deep, unfortunately. He does get killed by Mega Man. Here comes Earthshatter. Unfortunately, gets absolutely nothing, I believe. There's a fight on the point right now, and Minden gets nano boosted. He gets the kill on the chance. Every pick, every kill right now in this match will seal the deal for anyone who wins. 92% coming up right now, and this match is in favor of Error 404, coming up to 96%. There's only one person left on the point. Curious anyone, is no one else gonna touch? They are in overtime, and I believe Mega Man manages to charge back onto the point. Huge Earthshatter just trying to stall it out right now. Cassowary on the Hammond just trying to stall the point, but I think this is done and dusted. Error 404 has just brought it back from the brink, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely, and what an incredible performance from them from being at match point for so long, be able to bring this one back. They have not buckled under the pressure. They have thrived under the pressure. They have turned that pressure and they have used it as fuel for their victory here today. And what a well-earned victory it was. Going the distance to win this slog of a series 3-2 on the final map of Busan.
An extremely long and grueling fight through all, well, if we conclude the actual draw map, that's about 6 maps that we played through, and Error 404 has done basically the impossible, holding OmegaLUL to 4 minutes and 50 seconds on Numbani, bringing it back from the brink against a GOATS composition that has been meta for a while now. They've basically done what many people would consider the impossible, and they have outright deserved this win against OmegaLUL in this 3-2 series.
Yeah, just absolutely incredible performances from both teams. What a well-fought game. What a hard-fought victory. So, big congratulations to Error 404. Condolences to OmegaLUL, and very well fought for them. What an incredible performance.
Yes, and with that concludes our entire series for this. Let's move on to the MVP. I think it is safe to say both our MVPs is going to be the same. It is going to be Drift for me on that Hanzo 3 play of the game through 3 maps. He's basically shown time and time again how powerful Hanzo is. When you put it in the hands of the right person, he single-handedly won team fights. He's getting his dragons extremely quickly every single fight, and he is going to be my MVP.
Absolutely, 100% agreed. Have to give it to Drift. I mean, it's not just the Hanzo. He's winning the Widow duels. He's doing incredibly well on the Doomfist. There was an entire fight in Numbani that he put on his back and pulled out of the fire. So absolutely have to give it to Drift from Error 404 as the MVP for this match.
Yes, and with that, I think we are done with it. We might be coming back for another potential series, not too sure. But I think
due to the late running of this map, this match we will not have time for the other one. The other game we were going to be covering tonight is currently being broadcast over on AOE 2. So if you are interested in catching that one, feel free to tune over. And from all of us here from AOE, thank you for joining us.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Just on behalf of Zero Aim, who is helping us stream this, I think we'd like to say thank you to you as well. My name is Blackburn, and good night.